Hey everyone, Jonathan Barkan and Ted Hentschke from Dread Central, and we just got back from the Bethesda showcase here at E3 2019, and as we expected, there were some really amazing games that just look fantastic, and we can't wait to talk about them, and then there were some games that we just don't need to talk about.
Yeah, I don't really care.
How did this year stack up? Because you're a veteran of E3.
Yeah,
this is my
yeah.
second year. How did Bethesda Showcase stack up for you this year?
So Bethesda Showcase was a bit of a mixed bag this year,
Yeah.
and I feel like, so as a fan of Bethesda, you have to know that like going into the showcase, you're not going to see 100 games. This isn't the Microsoft or the Sony showcase where you're going to see all these different games from all these different developers.
Yeah.
It's going to be Bethesda games. Now they have a great variety of games, but realistically, people were looking forward towards 2 games this year: Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield, the new space RPG that they have.
The Space Skyrim.
The Space Skyrim. We didn't get any news about either of those other than that they're taking our feedback and trying to make the game.
There was some very sort of cursory mention
Yeah.
of Elder Scrolls 6, but there was nothing that of any substance.
Yeah.
It was, we got the sort of the teaser last year,
Yeah.
and that's
It's
really
literally what I
about
said. They
it.
just said that they're taking our input and trying to make the best game that they can, which is like nice, I guess. But we didn't get anything on that. However, what we did get was pretty cool. So first off, the things that we just don't really need to talk about. There's a new Commander Keen game. If you're into that, super awesome. It's like a mobile game. It doesn't look bad, but I have no idea how to judge mobile games. I don't really.
I will show you right away our reaction once the Commander Keen segment ended. We both just turned to each other and went like this.
Yeah.
There you go. That was it.
Yeah. There's new Elder Scrolls Online content. I'm not an Elder Scrolls Online player myself. I did play it when it first came out, but I have not been following the updates as it comes out.
A lot of my friends are big into Elder Scrolls Online, so I know that they're going to be incredibly excited about these sort of new offerings. But
Yeah.
for me personally, it looks great. The cinematics were exciting and they were
cinematics
fun.
exciting, but it's your cinematic.
But that was
Yeah.
all that it had to offer. Then there's a bunch for the Elder Scrolls Blades and Legends, which again, if you're into it, you're into it.
Legends. Yeah,
if you're not into it, you're not into it.
I
That's
played
about
Elder
that.
Scrolls Legends for a hot minute, probably like a year and a half. Really liked it. Replaced my Hearthstone habit. They had the little kind of funny dig if you're looking for a digital card game that's a little bit more challenging.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a dig at Hearthstone. That being said, I haven't played any of the expansions since Isle of Madness, so that'll kind of date me for any of you Legends players out there. And they were promoting the new expansion for it. Hopefully it's good. I don't know, but there's more cards in Legends now.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
about it. Now, what did excite us?
Now,
let's go
let's
into
get into what did
what
excite
was
us.
fun. Let's start simple. Let's start with 2 Wolfenstein titles.
Right.
So we've got a VR one, Cyberpilot, if I'm correct.
Yes, Cyberpilot.
Which, as they put it, what's more fun than killing Nazis in VR? There's not much more fun than killing Nazis.
Yeah.
Now that we get to do it in VR, I'm all aboard.
Yeah, the plot
I've
is-
already been all aboard for Wolfenstein.
You play as a hacker, you hack the drones, and then you blow up Nazis, and it's like a VR game where you blow up Nazis. Cool.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine
Yeah.
with this. And then there's Wolfenstein Youngblood, which has been talked about for well over a year.
Yeah, I wasn't really excited about Youngbloods when I first heard about it. You play as BJ Blazkowicz's 2 twin daughters, and you both have your own mech suits. And I was
There's sometimes mech suits. A lot of times you're not in.
No, it looked like you were in mech suits the whole time as far as the gameplay that we saw, and you're kind of doing that classic, what's now iconic Wolfenstein combat, sliding, shooting, parts of giant robots and Nazis are flying everywhere. Looked cool.
It looks fun.
Yeah, and I really do like the idea of doing it in co-op. Now, that being said, I haven't really seen any of what the game looks like if you're just playing in single player. I'm not interested in playing a game where I have to be playing 2 players all the time. I thought what looked cool about the co-op was being able to like have one of you draw fire while the other one flanks around the Nazi dog. You know, and Wolfenstein combat is fun. It's fun to shoot things in this Wolfenstein universe.
All right, I'm going to throw a sort of side topic that is very related here. If you were doing co-op and you can do it on the same TV, how do you prefer it to be split? Do you want it horizontally or vertically?
I want it horizontally.
That's what I would.
Horizontally split.
Although, interestingly enough, now with a lot of TVs being more widescreen, if you do it vertical, then you kind of have more real estate, theoretically. But there is something to be said about horizontal. I'm a horizontal kind of person myself, but I can see the arguments.
Well, unfortunately, I can't play with any one on my couch that's on my level, and it just gets real awkward. So
Wow. Okay.
sorry, online only for me, with only other pros.
I guess there are no other 4 out of 10s in his area.
Anyways, that being said, let's talk about. Youngblood. I think we've said all we can say. You play as his daughters. It looks like they have some chemistry.
And the thing is, it's bouncing off of what is a very big trend in cinema, in TV, and in music right now, which is the love of the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a lot of that synthwave music.
Yeah.
You've got that hard-hitting Power Glove, Perturbator, Miami Nights 1984. That's the kind of sound that they're going for. You've got that sort of visual aesthetic, because the game takes place in the 80s. Now, it's obviously an alternate future/past, because remember that even though this is in the 1980s, it's a sequel to all of the Wolfenstein games.
Yeah.
So it's this weird mentality, this weird mental block that you kind of have to jump over.
Yeah, except I don't think it's a sequel to Wolfenstein. Like the Wolfenstein that came out after the original Wolfenstein, the one that predates New Order. No one remembers it.
So why are you bringing it up?
I just was wondering where it falls in the continuity.
You're being pedantic.
Well, fun fact though, chronologically...
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're just going to...
I'm just going to say this, though. This is a fun little fact. Chronologically, the Doom Slayer from Doom is supposed to be B.J. Blazkowicz's great-great-great-great-grandson or something like that.
Which also, this is kind of an interesting one. This applies to me because I am a Jewish man, and I find this to be very fascinating. But B.J. Blazkowicz is, by canon, Jewish, and they say that Doom Guy, by canon, is Jewish as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, and... That's a fun little fact. He's a Jewish Polish.
Demon Slayer.
Yeah, Demon Slayer from hell.
You're welcome.
So there you go. That's the plot of Doom. If you didn't know what the plot of Doom was, that's what it is. There you go.
Yeah.
But that should just easily segue into...
We can easily segue from Wolfenstein talking about Doom into Ghostwire. Okay, no.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
we'll
talk about
Doom. Ghostwire in a little bit.
I think this is actually really important that we're so ready to move Ghostwire to the end as the most exciting thing we're talking about, because it was that good. But let's talk about Doom, because there was just so much that was just incredible about Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
I mean, you're fighting in heaven, which after so many games that take place on Mars and in hell, finally we get to say, hey, you done fucked up. Like, you've got to take ownership of this, and we're going to make sure of that by slaughtering heaven.
So the first thing to mention is that with this new gameplay trailer, we didn't see some of the things I really want to see. We didn't actually see the Doomslayer fighting any angels. We saw some ethereal levels and some... Yeah. We saw like a ghost guy, green ghost guy. I'm not sure who that is.
But those ethereal levels are so strikingly different
they're really,
from
really cool.
everything that we've seen in all of the Doom games.
And one of the things we don't see is what that sword is. We saw a sword in the first trailer for Doom Eternal. We don't see what that is. I was really looking forward to seeing that. But we did see a lot of new stuff.
They got to keep us tantalized somehow.
Yeah, maybe it's a plot element. Maybe it's not actually a weapon. We'll see. But we did see a lot of new stuff.
Yeah. And additionally, I think we saw here more actual legit platforming than we've seen in any Doom game prior.
Yeah,
you're gonna get a lot of sequences where you have to jump and swing on a horizontal pole. And what I really loved is that in a lot of games, when your character jumps on a pole, you can go diagonally jump, and when you hit the pole, you'll suddenly be aiming straight. It's either you're going forward or you're going back. But here, you jump on the pole and you actually go in the same direction that you jumped onto it from.
Yeah, movement has always been a big part of what makes Doom, especially with the new Doom, not Doom 3.
No.
But with the new Doom, movement was like a big part of what made that game. And to see them fully embrace that is really awesome. You had wall grabs, you could like climb up and then jump off. There were these aerial dash refills, so you have aerial dash and then you can refill it and do these larger jumping puzzles.
And while you're doing those jumping puzzles, you basically have, at least in some sequences, you've got the flame spinners from Super Mario World that are going around that you have to avoid.
It was great to see the game kind of really embrace being a video game where you have these like silly, like obstacles
it makes no sense that there are these kind of spinning spires of fire in hell, except to kind of fuck with the Doomslayer. And I think that brings into it makes it kind of cheeky and kind of fun, which if you think about it, that's what Doom always was. It was fast paced, it was action, it was a little bit humorous here and there, but now they're really getting into that.
I mean, and here's the big takeaway though. I mean, you can talk all you want about the platforming, about the new level design. What we're really here for is the combat. How does the combat look in Doom? Doom is a combat game. And let me tell you, my first ever E3 I went to was when they had the first Bethesda showcase, and you know
And you were saying that the way that they opened it.
Yeah, they opened
great.
it with. We were in a giant movie theater. The lights went down, and that first ever trailer for the new Doom that we ever saw, just started playing, and it was fucking epic. It was one of the best gaming experiences I've ever had. Was just to see Doom coming back to life in such a glorious fashion with no introduction.
And if you stop and think about it, what made Doom 1 and 2 so exciting was that it was fast-paced. It was a lot of action, it was a lot of shooting, it was a lot of killing, it was a lot of blowing up barrels to, give a lot of the demons around. And then Doom 3 came along. And there are people who love Doom 3, more power to you. It's a beautiful game. The lighting mechanics are fantastic. It's genuinely really scary at some points, but it doesn't feel like a Doom game. Because the whole idea is I either use my flashlight or I use my gun.
Yeah.
So you're kind of switching back and forth. You don't get that same combat element. So it lost a bit of that magic. It didn't have that same Doom feel.
Yeah.
And then Doom 2016 came out, and it was the ultimate throwback.
Yeah, Doom 2016 was so often at E3 you see these games where the trailers just do not live up to the actual gameplay. We see that time and time again. Doom 2016 was one of the first times I've ever experienced a game where the actual gameplay lived up to what they were showcasing.
It was the expectation, the exception to the rule.
And
it was an exceptional game.
And what we've been seeing with Doom Eternal is a lot of gameplay, and I love that.
Yes.
Like, we don't see these pre-rendered trailers for it like we do for other games. It's just like, here's another gameplay section, here's another gameplay section, here's another gameplay section. It's a game that's standing on its gameplay, and I love it.
And you get to see all of it in action in the way that you would actually play it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what's amazing is whoever was in charge of recording those sequences is clearly someone who's played Doom for a very long time.
Yeah.
And so they move the way that we're going to move.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense. That's why these gameplay videos don't even really feel like gameplay. It almost feels like a cinematic because they're so finely tuned. But then you start seeing all the little things. You've got the same mechanic in Doom 2016 where if you injure an enemy enough, they're going to start flashing and you can perform this really amazing fatality or takedown. And they are far more gruesome than we've seen before. I think probably there was one that you laughed out loud where there's like gaunt kind of creature.
Yeah, he just pops its head and just
smacks
in.
it, and the head just is suddenly like the top of the head is into the neck.
Yeah,
but the one that I loved was you break an arm and the bone is sticking out, and you jam it through the neck and stick them against a wall. It's vicious. It's gruesome. It's violent. And it's everything that you want from a Doom game.
Yeah, it's Doom in all of its glory, and I'm really looking forward to it.
So here we are. We're talking so highly of Doom Eternal and just how it... I think this is going to be an incredible follow-up to 2016's Doom.
It's going to be good.
And even with all of that, I think we have to jump to what was the unbelievable surprise of the Bethesda showcase, which was Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yeah.
Which, if you watched the stream, then you got to see they brought out one of the... Was it the developer? One of the creative directors? This absolutely adorable Japanese woman who did her best with English, and she did very, very well.
Yeah.
But she was very animated and nervous and excited and sort of restrained, but the energy that we got from her did not match at all with what we were shown.
Yeah.
So what she did, I was thinking like, oh, she's... I even told Ted here, I was like, she's adorable.
She's adorable.
I love this woman. She's just so bubbly and wonderful. Exactly.
Yeah.
I wanted to be around more. But then she was like, it's a game that's creepy, but it's not really survival horror. But there's like a cult, and I'm sitting like, what are you? What is this? This doesn't match. And then the trailer came.
Oh my god! Yeah, if you haven't watched the trailer, you just need to go do that.
Pause this right now and go.
Just go watch it. It like the way that this world presents itself with everyone just disappears, and there's very few people left, and those that are left are beset by these creatures with these long fingers, and the way that it merges old Japanese lore with kind of a more modern setting. I mean, I have no idea what she was talking about. It wasn't horror. It is horror as shit. Like, that was
This is J-horror, just craziness. I don't even know how to describe it necessarily. I will say that one of the things that blew me away about the trailer, first of all, beside the tantalizing tease of a story that we've been given, it's probably the most gorgeous visual trailer graphically that we've seen across the Microsoft showcase and the Bethesda showcase.
And I don't really
it's
like
just unbelievable.
I don't really lose my mind for CGI trailers anymore, but this one was such a great proof of concept that I'm just excited to see what they do it. Especially with the studio at the helm. This is Tango Productions, who did, I can't remember if it's Productions or Softworks.
GameWorks.
Tango Gameworks. Yeah. And they did The Evil Within and The Evil Within 2, which were great. I fucking love those games. And it's Hideki Miyazaki, who was, of Resident Evil fame. Like, this is gonna be, there's real talent behind, this.
Miyazaki, isn't that From Software? Am I wrong or no?
Am I thinking
Shinji Mikami?
Shinji Mikami. Sorry,
Shinji
my
Mikami,
bad.
Yes.
But Shinji Mikami is going to be.
We're still hyped up about Elden Ring.
Yeah, I'm still hyped up about Elden Ring, but Shinji Mikami is going to be behind it as the creative director, and so there's just like such a great pedigree behind this game that I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with it. And we didn't see any gameplay yet, which sucks. But
but here's the thing, I'm kind of okay with that because the tease that we were given. Here's the thing, we know very little about this game. It's Tokyo. People are disappearing randomly, and they even show it in the trailer that they're walking and suddenly they're gone, and to the point that their clothes are falling onto the ground. It's so sudden. It's almost like the Rapture.
Yeah, it's crazy looking.
Which, if that's the case, then suddenly it makes sense that there's an occult kind of overtone to this, because you're going to have the crazy religious people who are convinced that it's the end of days. This is the Rapture. Who knows what's going to be happening here? But again, there was enough given that, as you can see, we're blown away.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a great pedigree, looks awesome, great concept. We saw a dude shooting a spirit bow, and then it explodes with energy, and I was like, dope. And that's what I'm looking forward to. I just want to... And it's an interesting take from the Evil Within's hyper-gory, violent. This is way creepier. I can see what you're saying about it's creepy rather than horror-y, but I think that really there's something lost in translation there, because this is definitely a horror title.
This is absolutely a horror title. And it's just as creepy as it is horror, but the horror is going to be something different. There's something here that I think will make Ghostwire Tokyo probably one of the more unique games to come out within the past 5, even 10 years.
We'll see what happens with that. I'm just stoked.
Yeah.
Speaking of horrifying, the next game that they announced was one called Deathloop, or as I call it, being trapped at a party with your ex-girlfriend simulator, where she is definitely trying to kill you.
Or he's trying to kill you.
Or he's trying to kill you.
Because the whole point of it, it's very Edge of Tomorrow. You've got two assassins, and their whole thing is that they have to kill each other, and then suddenly it starts over.
Yeah, and I don't think that they are... I mean, they have to kill each other, but they're not... Their goal isn't to kill each other. One of the guys... They're on this island where there's this time loop. And one of the guys is trying to stop the time loop, and the lady is trying to continue the time loop. There's something that she's saying that this time loop is freedom. He says it's a prison. And she's trying to kill him. He's trying to kill her, and they keep waking up the next day.
Yep.
We all know that eventually they're going to have to figure out how to work together and whatever.
Exactly. This is basically, like I said, it's Edge of Tomorrow with probably a lot of elements of Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
And I'm really... First off, it's being made by Arcane Studios, who's the team behind Dishonored. So we saw a lot of the proof of concept for that. Once again, this is a CGI trailer, not a gameplay trailer. So with the, there were psychic powers, there was a lot of lightning, there was a lot of wall running, there was a lot of people getting
sliding
stabbed,
and
sliding. Yeah. So, knowing Arcane, knowing what they do, I would imagine that that's going to be a large component of this. And we have no idea if it's going to be two-player, one player's trying to do an objective while the other players are trying to do their own thing, kind of like Call of Horror, the cartel style. One guy that got that joke. So we don't know if it's going to be you both do your own thing, or you're going to choose a character and the other one's going to hunt you. We don't know, but I think that I was really intrigued by the premise.
This might be a situation sort of like Resident Evil 2, where you either pick Leon or Claire, but in this one, they're kind of interacting far more, and you might be able to, and whoever you choose is going to change the story.
Oh, and it's worth noting that they're not just fighting each other. There's also what seems to be like a mad society around this. They said the developers were very heavily accented, and they were saying that it's like a moment of madness, this moment of madness locked in time. And one guy's trying to break from the madness, the other one's kind of living and reveling in it. So yeah, I mean, I think that Deathloop looks really cool.
It's interesting at the very least. Yeah, it's one of those games to definitely keep our eyes on.
Yeah, and then finally we had a lot of announcements for Fallout 76, which is just going to be me ranting about Fallout 76 for a while, unless anyone stops me. But you can read my review for Fallout 76 on Dread Central. I was more favorable to it than a lot of critics. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. And one of the things that I said is that this game is like broken. It's fundamentally broken. It's not complete. There were so many problems with the game, so many missed opportunities, so many failed concepts, but I could see the skeleton beneath that was like, there's a real game here. And we've gotten a few updates since then, player shops, more co-op stuff. Those are all great. Still didn't quite get there.
Here they're bringing in the ultimate thing that will flesh out this world with human NPCs.
Human NPCs.
With dialogue trees.
Yeah, so, the joke is that they're finally finishing the Fallout game they started last year by adding in the NPCs. New quest lines, which are going to be a welcome addition. There's a lot of quests in Fallout 76, but once you're done, you're pretty much done. New quest lines for those players, new player characters, and they said that there's going to be an emphasis on choice and consequence. Now, they didn't really showcase what that choice and consequence means, like maybe you can kill the NPCs and then you won't get them anymore. Maybe you can steal their loot. I'm not sure. But there was a lot of stuff that I saw that only if you're a player would you get. Like the space station in the north has kind of just been sitting there. Now it shows it being reconstructed. Is that going to be part of the new storyline? You get to reconstruct the space station, use it as a base? I don't know. It all looks... It's like we're finally getting the promise, the delivered potential of Fallout 76, and it's actually becoming a Fallout game. What else was there that they announced about it? Oh.
I mean, there's the Overseer kind of mini game. There's all sorts of there was the Nuclear Wasteland.
Yeah, that was the Overseer minigame. It was 52 people fight so they can be the Overseer.
Yeah, it's a battle royale. They're bringing battle royale into Fallout.
Oh, I get it. Vault 51 because 51 of them die and it's 52 players.
I actually just got that as well.
Yeah, well, there you go. 50. Yeah. So there's there's an Overseer slot open for Vault 51, and in order to be the Overseer, you have to kill 52 other players in a.
Well, you have to kill 51 because you are the 52nd.
Right. In a closing circle of fire because of nuclear fire, in a way that should not be unfamiliar to anyone that's played Fortnite or PUBG or any of the 47 trillion battle royale games out there right now. And but battle royale mode in Fallout is interesting because you got power armor, you got these perk cards. I'm interested to see how.
And you have, don't forget, you've got the AI enemies. We saw a lot of creatures running after the characters in this battle royale style game. So it's not just you against other players. There's other dangers that are going to kind of impede your way to becoming the Overseer of Vault 51.
And here's what I'll be interested in. I'll be interested to see if, first off, this is a translation of your main game character that you bring into this world. I would be very, very highly surprised if you're actually playing your main game character and just lose all your loot when you die. I would hate for this to start off and the dude with the power armor just has the power armor they start. That'd be a terrible way to do Battle Royale.
It's got to be the same as with other ones where you have to rush to get something that hopefully can carry you through.
What I'm hoping is that you get to play as your character model, who then starts off as a level 1 character in this Battle Royale mode, and then if you win, you get some kind of perk in the main game. Like, it's some kind of translation over to the main game of Fallout 76. I really don't want this mode to be too separate, but I don't want it to be an entirely integrated experience. I'm very, very picky, but it's just, we got to see really cool moments where you build your bases at choke points. They had this one guy that built all these turrets, another dude in power armor was trying to power through as the nuclear fire was closing behind him. Awesome. I'm all on board for that. It's like Fortnite for adults. Yeah. And I'm down with that. I'm just interested to see how they implement it in the game as a whole. And as like I said this in my review, Fallout 76 was a game that I really did see the potential in, and I gave it a favorable review because of a lot of the semi-favorable review. Yeah. Because of a lot of the potential I saw in it, and it's cool to see them follow through on that potential.
Well, they've even mentioned that a lot of the reasons that they're making these DLCs for games like Fallout 76, for Elder Scrolls Online, is because they heard the players. And they even admitted, okay, some of you were a bit harsh in your critiques, so trolls, bring it down a little bit. You may be heard, but let's be heard in a better way.
No, it was the interesting thing is that when they started, this whole press conference was weird, which I guess we can get over to our kind of finish up with our overall impressions.
Yeah.
There were some really weird moments in this press conference. Like, it started off with them with this big thank you to fans. And if you've seen the Bethesda press conferences before, that's not how they function. Every other Bethesda press conference has been, basically they start off and they're like, fuck yeah, video games, let's show some trailers. And it's like high energy. They had Andrew WK come out last year. They ended the 2 years ago with the Chainsmokers. It's always been this like celebration. Yeah, it's like a celebration of Bethesda games.
Video games are fun. Video games are a party. We're here to party.
And then like Todd Howard came out and was like, we're sorry. Like the BP from South Park, like, sorry about Fallout 76, our bad. Like, I really do respect them for like owning up to their mistakes. Like, honestly, but like to watch, basically Todd Howard eat crow for like 5 minutes, I was like, this is a weird
But here's the thing,
feel.
this is what was actually really fascinating, is he came out, and one of the first things that came up on the display above him was Fallout 76, and the crowd was booing.
Yeah, there were people booing.
There were people absolutely showing their disdain for a game that has had a lot of issues.
Yeah.
And then Todd kept speaking, and he was like, look, we've heard you.
Yeah.
There are changes coming. What you've said matters to us. And yeah, some of you have been a bit harsh, but we actually took into account what you meant.
Yeah.
And so we have a lot to unveil, and by the end of it, I'm ready to go ahead and say that a lot of people are converted to the idea that Fallout 76 still has a potential to be a fantastic game.
Yeah, I think that it does, and I think that Fallout 76 has a lot of room to grow, especially because it was barren and empty and there was no one there, so, there's a lot of room to grow. But, I mean, I don't mean to sound like pessimistic about Fallout 76. What I mean to say is that like this is the game I wish we had gotten when it first launched, so that we wouldn't have to have this building of goodwill. I really do appreciate that they have the capacity to come out and say we're learning and we're building, and that gives me hope for what we didn't see with the Starfield and the Elder Scrolls 6. The fact that they have learned. I just don't want those games to come out like a Fallout 76. Like, I don't want to have to wait a year to play the game I really want to play and have to struggle through. I mean, I put probably close to 160 hours into 76. Like, just because I really wanted to like it. And, like, the deeper you get, the more broken it was. And I know that they fixed a lot of it, but there's a lot of goodwill.
Too late.
Yeah, there's a lot of goodwill to win back. And, I mean, I think they're on the direction to do so. But it was overall, the point being is that it was a very mixed atmosphere. This this press conference, and
there was a lot of great things that were announced. As we said, the Doom Eternal stuff was fantastic. The crowd was incredibly high energy. Ghostwire took everyone by surprise.
Yeah.
But then you had things like Commander Keen, which was it's really charming and it's really cute. But then they showed gameplay. Like the trailer itself was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a throwback to Saturday morning cartoons. Reminded me of the art style of John Kay from Ren and Stimpy. But then you have the actual presentation of the gameplay on a mobile device, and it felt like the air got sucked out of the room because everyone looked and just went, this looks cheap, for lack of a better way of putting it. Hopefully we're proven wrong. Hopefully it's a really addictive and exciting game, but at least from what we've seen, it's going to be a pretty tall order to ask. And Bethesda has always been a party showcase, and this time it was conciliatory. It was almost sad in a way because they were always, and between multiple trailers, they would suddenly do a video where it was either people who worked on games or fans that were just talking about really heavy topics. Yeah, and it was
like how Elder Scrolls got them through their like suicide attempts, and I was like,
or like through illnesses. Yeah, and it's really empowering and wonderful to see this, but at the same time, it's sort of the wrong place.
Yeah, it's the wrong tone for a Bethesda press conference where you're showcasing Doom Eternal, like where you like rip out a demon's arm bone and
where you're killing hell and where you're killing heaven.
Yeah, and I didn't really understand why. I mean, this is one of the things we were talking about when we got out of the showcase, is that this year's showcase, they were trying to talk about bringing the community together, and I couldn't help but think the reason that they wanted to talk about bringing the community together is so there's nothing else to talk about. They had Fallout 76 updates. They had a couple games that they announced, but they didn't have gameplay for. They're not coming out this year. They're not coming out next year. And they had Doom Eternal. And they're saving some Doom Eternal stuff for QuakeCon.
Which now they're going to have their own thing. They're called DoomCon.
Yeah.
Which they tried to make a clever little joke, but it's...
But usually, like, they just dominate that stage, and they didn't this year. And I've done this for a little while now, and the way that it always goes is that for all the showcases, Bethesda will come out, knock people out of the park, and then say, oh, and by the way, this game is coming out this fucking year. That was like what they did with Fallout 4, and they're like, oh, here's the trailer for Fallout 4. By the way, it's coming out this fucking year. Or they did that with Evil Within 2, or the Wolfenstein. This fucking year. It's coming out this fucking year. And they blow it out of the water. 76 was like, they're coming out with this. I think it was technically the next year, but, you know, it was like before the next E3, you're going to see these games.
Yeah.
And I don't know if other than Wolfenstein Youngblood, I don't know if we're seeing any of these games before the next E3.
We're seeing all of the DLC, and we're seeing all the expansions, and we're seeing everything
that
is there for games that are already out.
We're going to see 16 more card sets for the Elder Scrolls Legends, and then hopefully Blades will be ported to your iPhone.
Oh, it's coming
out.
It's coming to Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Which, cool.
Yeah, actually, you know, new announcement, I can now play Skyrim on the microchip in my cat, so that's pretty cool.
I've been playing it on my TI-83.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. I really wish that the press conference had opened with the lights going dim and then Todd Howard being like, hey, you're finally awake. I caught by that wish as well. And
a wagon comes out.
A wagon comes out. Like, I really just wish they'd lean into that meme. But, yeah, I mean...
It was okay. It was okay. I can honestly say that I think that the Microsoft showcase was probably more exhilarating.
It was way more exhilarating
than Bethesda.
And this is the first time I've ever said that. I've always, Bethesda Showcase has always been my go-to event of E3. Super fun, awesome stuff, high energy, and this one was middling at best.
Yep.
And,
Well,
so...
I wouldn't say middling, but I will say, at least not for me, but I will say that there were moments of greatness, there were a lot of moments of mediocrity.
Yeah. I can't help but think that with Sony not showing up, with Microsoft's mostly showcasing third-party developers, or part of their Microsoft Game Studios, not like, they had a Gears of War, they had a Halo, but they weren't really the focus of the shows.
No.
You know, and like I said, with no Sony, maybe the little guy rules this year's E3. We got the PC gaming showcase tomorrow. Mm-hmm. We got Ubisoft, we got Square Enix coming up. We're going to find out what they've got going on. So yeah, we'll be back after the PC gaming showcase tomorrow to let you know what we thought of all that. But do you have anything you want to say before we close? Any final thoughts or feelings?
I think that's really about it. Doom Eternal, I love you. I really want to play you.
Yeah.
Ghostwire, I'm
great.
So excited.
Yeah.
You are easily one of my most anticipated video game titles in a long, long time. Fallout 76 DLC, the new update.
Yeah.
It looks great. I'm really happy for that. It actually makes me want to go and pick up a copy. Everything else, I am happy for the people who are really excited about it. I hope you get hours upon hours of joy out of it. I just simply will not be joining you. Go forth and conquer. Yeah, and if you're looking to get Fallout 76, I think they're having a free weekend coming up this week at E3, June 10th through the 17th. So that'll be if you just want to try it out. And if you want to get it, they give them away with when you buy a toaster at Best Buy. They just you can find ways to get a copy pretty easily. Yeah, I literally just walked in to try to find a new pair of headphones, and I was walking out. They're like, "Do you have a receipt? Because you get a free copy of Fallout 76 with every purchase." And I was like, "Oh my god!" I actually made a whole coffee table out of copies of Fallout 76. You'll have to send me one of them. Yeah, I got a jacket just from the inlets of the the inserts for the cover. Yeah, it's a great economy buy if you need new frisbees, but. Anyways. All right. Well, that's it. 3.5 out of 5, dreadcentral.com. Read my review for Fallout 76. All right. So, Ted Hentschke, Jonathan Barkan, thanks so much for tuning in for our coverage of the Bethesda Showcase. As we said, we're going to be checking out the PC Gaming Showcase. We're going to check out Ubisoft, Square Enix. Then we're going to do a whole bunch of coverage from the floor of E3. There's a lot of stuff coming up. We're going to have gameplay videos. We're going to have interviews. Be sure to stay tuned to Dread Central, and we will see you in the next video. I'd let you know what's coming up, but I don't know which embargoes are up yet or not. So, see you soon. All right. Take care. Yeah.